Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Little Bear, and I'm going to let everybody else introduce themselves.
Who's next? Will I go next?
Okay, go ahead.
I'm Anna Wallace. I'm from Ireland. Hello.
Okay, I'm Jerrae Lyn, and I'm from Oklahoma.
So it leaves 01 in the southeastern United States.
Alrighty.
Now we are live, and we hope you are joining us. And we're going to talk about all different kind of things like spirituality. We've had a wonderful pre-chat. I don't even know how we could even start to go back to what we were talking about. It was pretty good. So how do we start this? First, I'd like to ask a question to everybody. Do you think that we are that people are waking up? Is there a spiritual or conscious awakening?
There definitely is.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's wonderful.
I think we all feel it, but people are different. Maybe I think everybody feels something, some sort of an energy. I think you can detect that, whether they're depending on how far they know what's going on is, but I think they're starting to kind of, regular people talk about this is the apocalypse, which is the revealing. So that makes sense. Things that were hidden are now coming to out in the open, more so. Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought the apocalypse was like some kind of end of the world thing, but if that's how it is, I think that's already happened. I think we're post-apocalyptic at this time.
To me, it's revealing. I know I always thought of it as being, we're all just destroyed, but I think it's just revealing, or they call it the Age of Aquarius, just different, all kinds of stuff like that.
In our private, there's the YouTube thing. If you guys want to go on there, and you can see the, you have to mute it when you go on there so we don't hear you. And we already have an audience, and I'm going to say something. We have Harry Cookie Munster. Hello, Harry. We have James Owen. We have Reverend Galileo. She's awesome. Want to be live? Hey, how are you? How are you, brother? Skybird, how are you, sister? And we have Jill on here. And hi, glad to see you, and welcome to everyone who's now watching. And we want you to know if you guys think there's a spiritual awakening, or is there an awakening of some kind? Because I think it would have to be spiritual if there is an awakening. I mean, wouldn't you guys? I mean, you just said it kind of, Jerrae, with it,
Yeah. There is that. I mean, the energy is, in a lack of a better word, but there is a shift spiritually that we all sense. Sometimes, if you don't understand it, some people may interpret it as being afraid, scared of everything. But instead, I do think it's also I think it's the most beautiful and horrific time to live in. That's the only way I can describe it, because there's some really good things happening spiritually. We're all kind of still growing, but also seeing a lot of the devastation as well, and becoming aware of the truth behind it all.
And boy, truth's a big one to grasp, because truth is so mixed in with lies right now. It's very hard to discern what's true and what's not true. And that causes a lot of the negativity going on, too.
It is. There's so many lies. You don't know if it's a hoax or if it's real, whatever as far as news or anything. We don't know, but we do know that something's not right. But we know the truth of some of our histories and different things that, you know, who's behind what, their main motive. If we can keep that in mind and not get pulled into the, you know, it's this you know, group of people against this group of people, that's hard.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're just not being pulled into that, because it's really confusing. I go by my own family, and they're the most conservative people you'll ever meet. But even my mum now is starting to question things, and kind of my sisters are saying things to me that they're surprising me, and it's really fantastic to hear them, but it's really surprising me, and you couldn't get any more conservative than them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's positive. It's confusing, but it's positive.
That is a good thing. That is, I'll tell him. Rick Mack is sick, and he may jump in and he may not. He told me a story yesterday of he was talking to his mother, and I think she's 80-something years old, and she was telling him about the chemtrails. She was telling him about the chemtrails, what they're spraying, and she thinks that they're making people sick. And she says, I think they're trying to kill the old people off, or maybe everybody off. Now, he's never discussed this with his mother before, and I'm not going to speak on behalf of Rick, but I thought that just for the fact his mother having this conversation, like telling, you know, her son, they're spraying stuff in our sky, and I see it, is wonderful, you know, just that fact. And he's in Scotland, so so that's kind of cool when the old people, and I kind of consider myself old, are seeing something's wrong.
Right. I've tried to point out, like, Anna, you were talking about your family being conservative. My mother, and they're very religious and very conservative, still watch Fox News. They're, you know, Republicans, all that, and they see everything as prophetically happening. But I've pointed out, like, do you ever look at the sky and wonder what all that is? She goes, well, I know, but we just have to pray about it all. And I mean, that's her solution to everything. And granted, you know what? That's, bless her heart, I agree. But I'm like, well, don't you think, you know, I asked, does your preacher talk about those things in church? She goes, no. You know, and it's that kind of thing, I think, you know, where I have that, why aren't people that have the podium anywhere not saying something, you know, and getting people to wake up out of their stupor, because I think we are under some sort of electronic frequency, spiritually, you name it, some sort of subversion or mind control. You know, we're breaking out of it, but it does affect us all, to a sense. So that's just my take on, as far as, my mother knows it and sees it, but it's almost like she turns it off a little bit, like, you know, too much to handle, maybe. Or she doesn't. I think some people don't want to believe it to be true.
Could be. I've noticed something I would sort of identify as similar to that. I very healthy, though. If I don't know, if there's maybe some way of stimulating our curiosity and something that'll lead her other places.
Yeah, but, you know, and what I do say, my mother is, they're elderly, okay, so I don't try to bombard them. They're set in their ways.
Absolutely.
Have a relationship with the Creator. I'm not, you know, that's their thing. You know, and I think they've lived their life. It's kind of like that, kind of like, you know what, we're just gonna sit here, watch Fox News, and work on a puzzle, no matter what. Bless their hearts, you know. So.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, and you know, that's the best thing. That is the best thing for some people. They really just need to be at peace in their own paradigm.
Right. That's right. And the people that are supposed to awaken and say something, or like I believe, me and my husband sometimes believe we know some of this, and it's kind of been a burden, right? When you know, you almost feel like you can't go out and you can't relate sometimes to others, but because if they don't, they think you're crazy. But I think we've to equip our children, because I think they're going to be seeing even more than what we see, to equip them spiritually, emotionally, physically to handle it. you know, maybe that's for me personally why, because I'm glad I know things now. I have some sort of an understanding of the truth and the awakening, but it's not been easy, you know. When you're still dealing with just who you are in your regular old life, you know, and our own ups and downs, and you know, like we were talking a little bit before the hangout, those type of things can, all of it together. So,
especially when pork flies out and you're not ready for it all to come rushing at you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, and when that happens, yeah, I'll let you go. Go ahead, Anna.
No, I was going to say what Jerry was saying about the kids, equipping the kids to be able to handle things. It's important. It's really important because they're going to have to handle a lot more than we're handling.
Right.
You know, and they need to come from a place that's very strong in themselves. You know, so I just think it's really important what you said there.
I agree. Responsibility, and that's something that's been lacking to me for a long time. And we are responsible for. I mean, we borrowed this earth, you know, for a short time, and we're supposed to leave it a better place than when we arrived here on this earth. And I think that we have been very irresponsible, be it by government, religions, or whatever control force they've used to divide us. It's taken that responsibility away from us, and now more people are seeing they have to be responsible. And that's good. We're teaching the children to be responsible.
Equipping the young is important, you know, as we age, because they're going to need to, you know, the children, I can tell that with the technology age, there is this, I have to reach in there to them. Does that make sense? You know, we do try to keep them from some of it to where they're not, but they're still part, you know, how can I say get rid of your computers when I got a computer? Okay, so, you know, when I trash mine, I'm trashing theirs. And one day we'll do that. I promise you. But, because I'm the whole phone, all of it, you know, but I do think it's important that the good part of this is that we can talk about this. We can get, and other people can relate and feel less alone and share ideas and information. But yeah, the kid thing is pulling them away from, like, this is real here, you and me. Get in touch, you know, by example, you know, going outside, harvesting some vegetables and letting my son go, hey, you know, we can eat this. And I'm like, yeah, we can. Isn't that great? We don't have to go to the store.
It tastes like real food. That's the really big thing. I want to read some things in here. Reverend Galileo, James Owen, hi to you. Thanks for joining. Reverend Galileo says it's learned helplessness programmed into us by propaganda and religion. And I'm going to agree with that because I believe, even myself, I went to college to be somebody, to be a school teacher and a psychologist. And you know what? I failed. I failed at being both of those because I couldn't follow the, what do you call it, their agenda. Now, so I failed at my education, which that's probably a good thing now. At the time, I felt bad. Rebecca Bradley, thank you for coming on. She's noticed these past few weeks that there are more people around her that are awake or aware than she realized. There's definitely awakening going on, and more people every day are seeing through the bullshit, lies, and propaganda. Yay, that's what we want to hear. I mean, yay. Jean says hi. Tony says hi. And Sinya Little Bird says hello to all of us. And Jill's here. And I just wanted to cover everybody to make sure I got everybody. But yes, anything you guys can add to the awakening, please. We want you to participate in this. I can't answer that. Sorry, guys, you heard that. That wasn't for me. That's for Kenny. Anyway, I read their things, but so people are seeing awakening. Now, I see people afraid of the awakening, too, that they're seeing. like it's almost they're scared. Do you guys see that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to say I see the most going on with young people. They don't have their whole lives tied up in this other paradigm we're taught. They're more able to awaken really than some of us that are older and more set in their ways. And they'll take it and be able to grow with it and it not it not set them back 5 years trying to catch up and get their head back together. And they're probably going to be they do seem to be at this point and will continue to be the bigger portion of what's going on, you know.
Yes.
Well, I agree, and I feel bad for the young people, even though I have children, and my daughter, I would say she's wide awake. I have a son, he's getting there now that he has children, and then I have a 21-year-old who, hey, life is good. He's on a fishing boat. He gets money. He gets off the boat. He parties. You know, he's 21. What can I say? You know.
Right.
Great when you're 21.
Yeah, he has no worries in the world, but eventually that catches up with you. And to the young people that are waking up, if you know, there are some of us. If you're young out there and you need to speak to somebody, I'm sure any one of us on the panel would talk to you privately if you know you're having a bad time. Because I could imagine me, well, no, I can't. I'm going to take that back. I was brought up by wonderful people, and any question I had, I could ask. But I have seen it where parents brush their children away and do not answer questions truthfully. And that is sad. Like I said, I was brought up by people who totally would let me ask anything, and that was a blessing. But now people are not. Well, I see adults more into watching TV, their favorite program, they're worked to death, and they really don't even have time for their own children. So.
Right.
And that's by design. We all know that.
Exactly.
And that's a sad thing. And Anna, you work, don't you? And you probably have. Oh, she'll be right back. Never mind.
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Okay.
I'm being
for the working women, it's hard. I can only imagine how hard it is to raise a family and then try to do it right and teach your children well when you have to work, when that is your only choice of survival.
Exactly. It is. It's because you have to work long hours to pay the bills. Everything's going to get even more expensive. You know, I just think my mother had the 4 kids. She worked a full-time job along with my father, raised us all, and made dinners, full dinners every night. Was your picture perfect mom to some degree, but she was very bitchy. She was angry. She was exhausted. So, I mean, she did the best she could, but that was, I saw that in her, and she regrets it. She says, "I wish I would have stayed home with you all." And she said we could have worked it out, me and your dad, but we thought we needed the money. We thought we needed this extra stuff versus doing without a little bit and making those sacrifices, I guess, because it's hard, and it's even harder now. So.
very true.
Yeah.
And I find it really hard sometimes to kind of that line between where your kids need stuff, they need things, and it's natural for them to want certain things, but trying to put that kind of spiritual thing in them and trying to make them see there's more than that.
Right.
There's another world completely kind of thing. It's hard sometimes.
It is, because their peers are doing, the same things, and it is very hard.
Yes.
Very, very hard.
You guys, I think I'm not for sure. I have someone that a lot of us know and you might not know Anna, and I think that he would like to come on this live chat. His name is Joe Mama. Do you guys know him?
Yes, you're familiar with his videos. He's a good man.
Do you know him, Dis?
I'm vaguely familiar with him. I've looked over his stuff, and he seems like a pretty cool.
He's very awake and very awesome, and I'm letting Kenny see if that's what he wants. And I don't usually invite people in, but it would actually be an honor to have him on here. He wants in?
I just sent the message.
I'm going to go ahead and send him a thing, because that would be honorable to have someone who doesn't come on a lot, and he is self-sufficient and a wonderful human being.
I agree.
And maybe we should, yes. And I don't usually do this. I already said this. I don't do that. But in his case, I would make an exception because I know him, and he is awesome. So maybe that he would help. Joe, you've got your invite if you're watching, brother. So that would be awesome. I didn't know that the call was for me. I thought it was for Kenny. But yes, as far as children go, and self-sufficiency also helps you get spiritual. If you work the land and stuff, if you get out in the land, it helps you spiritually. I don't care what anybody says, but if you go outside and have to dig in the dirt and stuff, you find out we're on a living planet. And even those insects you might have been scared of as a kid don't seem to bother you so much anymore.
No, it's probably the one thing that I can do outdoors that nothing outside, I mean, it's almost like I go into another world. Those things don't affect what's going on. It's like a meditation in a way. You know, it is. You connect spiritually, and all the things that are going on they're not over and over in my mind, if that makes sense. And I'm just still. So, yeah, it's a wonderful thing. I agree 100%. It's been probably I'd be loony right now without it. Everything going on.
I think a lot of us would be loony without going outside. I am
I'm already kind of loony. I'm not kidding you. You know that. If we're on YouTube, it was something a little going. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, yeah. Sorry.
I was going to read some things really quick. We have Bulldog out there. Hello, everyone. No chat. This is an interesting conversation to be a part of. Reverend Galileo said the other day, I was thinking maybe it's better that most people stay asleep, like the famous quote from A Few Good Men, you can't handle the truth. Most people cannot. You have a very healthy ego. If you have to have a very healthy ego, which most people don't these days, we are just at the beginning of turning things around. I don't like the word ego, but because I think ego gets in the way of things, but if you're probably meaning that in a different way because I know you, and you're an awesome person. Ken Bob said there are two choices on this planet: be a part of the predator class or the prey. Well, I was told by an elder that you're either, in this world, you're either helping humanity, or if you're not helping humanity, you're hurting humanity. And I myself choose to be on the part of helping humanity. Can of Worms, hello, glad to see you out there, brother. Hello, sister. Thread for Souls is out here. Rebecca. Dad always made time for us kids no matter what he was doing. That's an awesome dad.
Yes.
Vaughn Servant said, I would love to tell you guys about my awakening, but where would I start? It's not all unicorns and rainbows. No, it's not. My third eye opened in 2011, and have yet to find anyone that is on my level. I can literally see the purple irises of my mind's eye. Wow, it sounds like you did some ayahuasca. But no, just kidding, just kidding.
Hey,
Tara
was
Smile.
unicorns and rainbows?
Huh?
Was there supposed to be unicorns and rainbows? I got ripped.
I got ripped too. I am honored right now to have someone on here. I have two people on here. I'm going to throw them out here. I have Popeye on here. Popeye, thank you for stopping by. I love you very much, and you know that. He knows me by sheeple, too. So that's a laugh between me and him. He has a radio show called Down the Rabbit Hole. So hello, Popeye. Thank you. And Smish is out here. Hello, Scott. Thank you for joining us. And if I would have known, I would have invited you on here earlier. Would love to have you in one of our discussions. And we just have a wonderful panel out here of people who are listening to us. And that makes me feel great. Tony B., hello, fellow truth seekers. Abby of Science Nut, I always say it wrong. You're always here. We love you, bro. Kim is here. Kimmy's here. Everybody's here watching. Thank you all, and thanks for everything that you guys are saying. I'll get back to you in a minute. If I missed anything, let me check. Some of you are showing up as spam. Why, I don't know, because none of you would be spam in my book. Now back to the conversation. And we do. I'm honored to have like radio show hosts on here and Smish on here. That's just, I'm very humbled, I have to say. So thank you. Now, where were we? The fear. I really want to get into the fear part of the waking up, because I see people wanting to wake up, but there's something like a door stopping them. If they wake up, that means they would have to say, the government isn't real. This isn't real, or that isn't real. And I think, and our money isn't real. And those things seem to get in the way to me. And when I start talking to people about waking up, do you guys notice those things are a hindrance to a waking up process? And that's you on the panel here.
Yes. You know, it's like pulling a rug out from underneath them. Just like, you know, it's hard to understand that everything you were told and taught, most of it was a lie, if not all of it, that we learned on, you know, other than from our families, you know, our own family, whether, you know, morals or something. But yeah, I think there's a fear, because if they admit to that, then they have to, then what do they do with that? You know, stick their head in the sand, or do they be, I hunger for more truth. I want to know more and uncover things. And it is hard to do. It is hard. And there was a period of time earlier on I was scared. I was very scared, because I didn't, you know, it was just a fear I had to overcome. Mm-hmm.
Now that you've went through that fear, Jerrae, how do you feel? I mean, because there's still some fear with this. Everybody experiences fear. They can say they don't, but fear is a part of life. But fear, I mean, I go through the fear state. If I get scared, I work it out real fast, because what's the worst thing that can happen to me is death, and that's going to happen anyway. So I just want to be on a spiritual level when I die, that, you know, all's groovy and I don't have to return back here.
Me too. That's
you know.
I don't want to come back. But I fear for my kids. I have a fear for the children, all children, facing what is now and what is in the future. That is, yeah, my greatest fear is for them. I used to fear death of my own self, because that is the bottom line of a lot of our fear. We all have that fear of death, and you have got to overcome it. I had to face it. I used to be embarrassed to talk about it years ago. It was it was nagging at me for so long, and that I had panic attacks on top of probably all the things that I did to myself that brought on the nervous disposition I had at the time. And then I faced it. I had some wise women around me that taught me to face it, and that took some time. But I still have, I can't fathom my children suffering, or children suffering, period. They're innocent, and that's, yeah.
And in my eyes, all children are innocent, and it doesn't matter what land you're in. So, Anna,
Right.
how do you feel about the people, the government? Do you think they fear everything would go chaotic without government in Ireland?
I've been having this argument with people recently. Oh God, there needs to be something, but there needs to be transparency. I still haven't come to the end of this shit. This is one I'm battling with in my head at the moment.
Yeah.
There's a movement in some other country, I don't know where it is, but it's the political party, the main political party is based on kind of nearly everyday people. They have barristers, lawyers, all this kind of stuff, who volunteer their time and give the expert knowledge and whatnot. But this party is going full swing, and it's working in this country. I don't know which country it is. I was talking to somebody a while ago about it, but it's working for them, you know. And everything they come up with, every decision they make, goes to the people, so they can actually choose whether they want it or not. I think that's the way, to me personally, I think that's the way it should be, you know? Not let government be this hidden thing that the ordinary person can't understand, and, you know, but that's, I don't know.
Yes.
Government just goes really, really deep.
It really does.
It does. You know? But what Jerrae was saying a few seconds ago about the mothers, most mothers, I think, that would be a common bond, as in, we're all aware, and fathers, my God, we're all, as parents, not just mothers, as parents, we're aware of the shite we're going to leave to our kids.
Exactly.
And that in itself should be enough of a spur to get up and do something, because we're handing, this is our present, this is their future, you know, as parents. I mean, this is our common bond. This should be enough, you know, to pull us together to do something.
Right on.
I'd like to think.
I do think. I think we can make that difference, even with it is with our own children. They can make a difference in their friends, right? It can ripple out.
Yeah, it's not an overnight thing, but as you just said there, person by person, child by child.
Right.
You know?
Right. My kids talk about, my youngest talks to me, the very youngest one, he's 7, he talks to me about death a lot. And he talks about heaven and our souls and spirits, and I wonder why sometimes. I'm like, you know, then I start, I mean, not that it's, I never thought of those things when I was young. The first time I started understanding death was when my father died, and then I saw him die, and that's when it became very clear to me how life is so fragile. Prior to that, I was just, you know, you're going to live forever. But he talks to me a lot about things, and I some things I can't answer, you know, and some things I can, and I told him we will continue. The soul in you, which he calls it a diamond, our souls are like diamonds. I said, that will go on. We will go on. And just the body. And I'm glad, because I don't want to keep this body forever. I mean, who wants to live here forever?
Well, I believe we're all energy, and I think we discussed that on the last one. I mean, even water has memory. Everything has memory. You know, but like you said, who wants this body? I want to move on to something that's probably more real than this. If this is a testing ground, I hope I pass. You know, because it's been a wild ride, that's for sure. Dis, are you on here?
Uh-huh.
Okay, would you like to add anything, or are we just taking over, or?
Speak.
I really didn't want to interrupt.
I'm gonna shut up.
No, we love it when people talk.
Well,
Please. You know?
Talk. No.
Well, I guess, what do you think? Do you think some of the fear of like the government, or somebody said central banking? I was looking in the links, which is an evil entity. Yes, it is. Do you think people are afraid that they wouldn't be able to barter or with? All right. I, in a way, consider myself, or I don't even like labels, but people have labeled me. I'll just tell you what they've labeled me: an anarchist. Um, so I'll just go with that label right now. Do you think that without government, we would go into, I mean, it would just be drastic, just the way that the government paints it would be if we didn't have them?
Well, that's what most people believe. And the thing is, when you know the whole world one way, then that's going to be potentially taken away from you. Then you kind of feel like all your defenses are stripped away, all your knowledge is stripped away, and you're, being forcefully born again as an adult into a world having to deal with adult things with no frame of reference hardly. And that, to do it all over again, and that's not very appealing to a lot of people. And in a sense, do it all over. You really don't. You've already got your foundations there of who you are and what you can do. But it takes a lot of effort to fill in those blanks and get your actually come to your full strength as a person. Whereas it's like the blue pill or the red pill. You can take the blue pill and be comfortable and know enough to get by. You can take the red pill and be very damn uncomfortable and find out all sorts of shit that's going to completely turn everything upside down, and it's going to make you work and worry, And not everybody's just ready for that just yet. But for me, knowing that I didn't know enough, knowing that I didn't know nearly what I thought I did,
Right.
it drove me to want to know more. And I say to anybody, if you can find that within you, go for it, because
Yes.
it can be a creepy, scary ride at times, but the enlightening is so much worth it. You will have so much more personal power over the things in your life you never knew you would be able to. There's so much less you have to accept that you don't realize right now you're accepting, and you don't have to.
Mm.
I actually totally agree with you, Dis, and we've probably had this conversation a million times, so I know where you stand on certain things, and you know where I stand. I think my biggest concern is that people, I believe with some structured, some kind of structured society would have to be implemented. However, I don't think it has to be anything like what we have now, and they are programming. I think everyone needs to shoot the TV. It's not only is it fun, it is so much fun to do. It is, it is, you want to have a good time, just say take the TVs out and shoot them, but it's also worth getting out of the programming. The programming is just overwhelming. I walked into a doctor's office because I had to go to the doctor over my back the other day, and they had a TV on, and the Ferguson thing was going on. And I instantly watched myself. I saw nobody talking or relate. Usually when there's not a TV on, people talk to each other. Yeah. Even in doctor's offices or wherever. That TV had everybody staring at it. Nobody, it was like the magician in the room with or the hypnotist with the little thing going back and forth. And I noticed I got drawn to it, so I moved to another side of the room. I just didn't want to hear it or see it because it is so hypnotic that it only took a second for me to be drawn right into it.
It also induces a particular etiquette. Shh, I'm listening. Shh, I'm watching.
God, yeah.
We'll do that automatically, and for the sake of whoever else is watching it. I've got to where I can't do that anymore. I'll ask the people around me. I'm like, "What do you think of that?" And not let that be the whole center of the thing. I'm like, "You miss it now. You can catch it later. They're going to keep drilling it at you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to miss anything because they're going to keep pounding it for all it's worth. If it's something fresh, they will pound it for all it's worth. You'll get plenty of opportunity to catch up on it before it's over with." They will not stop drilling because they're going for mileage. They're going to keep you busy, keep you watching, and sell that product.
Right. Exactly what they do.
Well, it's consumerism itself. Goodness gracious, have they? And I'm going to say this, and this will get the prepping community mad, but in a way, don't you think that even though the government calls preppers and stuff, on their watch list and stuff, I mean, if you walk into a store, I can walk into any little store that we go into, and it's got prepping stuff sitting there. Buy me, you need me in your kit. Buy me. So it's almost become part of the consumerism. It's like it was an agenda too.
Well, now that it's become a commercialized thing, and sort of a fad. I think, and I'm afraid that a lot of people that out there that are doing this, they're just in over their heads. They may be over preparing. They may be mortgaging their house for stuff they don't need. And yeah, there's always a possibility something could happen and you could need something, but try not to obsess over it if you can too much. And knowledge is more useful than anything. If you have knowledge going into it, then you'll come out the other side not needing nearly as much kit and stored food and all these other things. I'm sorry, I kind of drifted off the subject of anarchy. You were asking the question about anarchy and whether people could accept that or not. I know most people probably can't. But here's the thing. Say we have a minarchy on the interim, just to allow people to adjust. We take baby steps. That could very well just whip right back around and turn into another just what we got. That sort of has happened throughout history. So it would really take a lot of collective resolve to continue towards getting rid of something that will repeat itself if it's left around for too long. It will regrow like a root that didn't get dug up, and it'll go back to infesting the whole area once again.
Yeah. True. It is the TV, everywhere we go, if we go to eat or where we're at, is on everywhere, to the point that it pisses me off, because I am one, and my husband thinks that, because he doesn't do this to him, he says, and he doesn't understand why it does it to me, but I will look up at the TV, eat something, and I will zone into it, and I won't even know what I watched for 5 minutes. That's what freaks me out, okay? Prior to being aware of some of this, I did that all the time. Now I'm like, oh gosh, I just watched, and it could be ESPN golf, and then a commercial or something, and I didn't even know, and I can't stand any of that. So, but I would literally, and my husband will break my stare. What are you looking at? I'm like, well, the TV's on, and so I will try to avoid it. But who knows what just got programmed into my subconscious.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It draws your attention. If one is on, you're drawn to it whether you want to be or not.
Exactly. It does.
I used to use it as my way of completely zoning out after I finished work, so that I would have nothing in my head. I'd be gone. And it was only after a while, and somebody pointed this out to me. I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
I have
completely zone out.
Of escaping into a series that we watch no commercials on, by the way, because we refuse to watch that. But Walking Dead, yes, I got addicted to that. First series I've watched in probably 3 years, anything on TV. And, yeah, so I'm guilty. But been watching it to where no commercials, nothing, so you can watch them back to back to back. Isn't that terrible? But it's been a great escape, man. But other than the commercialism, I hate commercials. That's why I won't watch anything on regular TV.
Absolutely.
The commercials, and if you know, I'm going to go out and buy a product that I don't freaking need, right?
I just keep saying to the TV, I don't need that. I don't need that, and then I just get up and walk away. It's difficult for me to visit people that have them on and leave them running. I want to go turn the thing off so that I can get a conversation going so badly.
We don't have one. I promise you. We took the last ones we had, which were in the storage shed, when we met YouTubers face to face, and that's what we did. We took them all out and we shot the TVs while they were here, and then we used Tannerite to finish them off, which was just so much fun.
I love that.
And we also, because they were on vacation, and I feel like I live on what I call Indian time, we covered the clocks and they couldn't use their cell phones. So it was kind of abrupt for them to go into a world where there was absolutely no, computers weren't going to be allowed to be used. Cameras were, so for afterwards, but for the week they were here, nothing electronic of this sort was allowed, nor clocks, because you were just going to live without time. And you know what? It was awesome. And everybody should try that every once in a while. We have one clock in our house, and of course, I get days confused sometimes, and I think a lot of us went through a process the other day in a personal chat asking, what day is this? And I ended up having to ask Kenny. He had to look on his gadget phone to tell me, oh, it's this date. I mean, that's pretty bad when you don't know what day it is. But I live more by a lunar cycle anyway, and I'm going to continue to do that. And that was just the way I was brought up. So I'm going to leave it at that. Guys, I'm going to go on here. There's a lot of people on here, and I think we should see. We have Blake Egan. He said, hey, everyone, predictive programming at its finest in Ferguson, subconscious. Yeah, I believe that, and I think he left a link, and I think we've seen this. Rebecca wished she could shoot the TVs at work, constantly playing the news or some other senseless shit. Maybe you know what you should do, Rebecca? When they're not watching, go unplug all those damn things. Other people say TV's got to go. I'm glad to hear that. Yes, shoot the TV, the blue screen hypnosis. Little Bird is still here. I'm so glad to see you. It takes more than one life to know the Earth. The Earth is just high school. That's kind of true, yes. Rebecca, had the conversation with my mother a while back when I said I wish to be cremated. This body is just a vessel for our energy and our soul. You know, I used to want to be buried. It doesn't matter if I'm cremated. Actually, now, if I'm cremated, I'd like to be put into some very clean water. Not recycled water, clean water.
Sit down in a stream. And yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. Harry Cookie Munster said, I hear a rooster crowing in the background, and yes, announcing the awakening. The rooster likes the internet, and if he hears me talking, he will come to the window and try to crow. I think he is announcing something. Jerrae, this one is for you. This is from Vaughn Servant. If you're ever around Marietta in the Red River Valley, then you are more than welcome to visit my garden. I'm getting ready to expand my plot 3 times the current size. Excuse me. I'll start to make some videos of my gardening for you guys. My family sells at the local farmers market on Saturday. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Real sweets here. I'm glad you made it, sister. We got to get your Google figured out. The Great Spirit gave us, our Creator gave us emotions for a reason. Yes, indeed, Reverend Galileo. Jean's Pretty Pups, I think. Most of us get scared, more so for our children. She agrees with Jerrae. First flyover, that was about the central banking system scam and how it got started. Cindy Wolf, glad to see you here, sister. And I hope I have covered about everybody that has asked questions. El Chavez is here. Hey guys, making lunch for Mike. He's going to work and I'm listening. Thank you for listening. Ken Bob, thank you for listening. And I think I got everybody right now. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. I'll check back here in a little bit and we'll continue our conversation, which seems to be going pretty good.
Yes.
Because I have some questions. I don't write these down. These come off the top of my head. We had talked about this. Would you say something? Talk about something that happened to you during an eclipse? Because I've actually had. I know eclipses to Native Americans. We don't really watch eclipses for a reason. And would you please tell us what happened to you during an eclipse? Would that be too much to ask? If you'd rather not share it, I understand. Is this there? Did we lose this?
Yeah, he was talking about it earlier, wasn't he?
Yeah. Dis, are you there? Okay, well, maybe he ran to do something. Oh, he jumped off. He's probably having computer. His computer will crash and he'll jump back on. Okay. Okay. Dis, are you back?
Yes.
Brother, are you there?
Yeah. Computer crash.
Yeah, I know. Would you, if you don't want to, you don't have to, but would you tell people about what happened during an eclipse with you? And maybe we could start on that topic because I'd like to hear how people relate to their world. And I think eclipses have something that affects us all. Native Americans usually would have their most sacred people watch the eclipse and the rest of the people went inside. So there may be something to that.
Well, it wasn't during an eclipse, but one was involved. I just was standing in the yard during the day in the summer and just having random thoughts, and all of a sudden I was at the same spot, the yard, but all the houses and stuff was gone. It was just a field. All the trees were still there and the grass and everything, and there was an eclipse overhead where the sun was at the same position, same time and everything. And I was in that for about 2 seconds, and then I come back to where I was, and it was very disorienting, and I do not understand what that was about, even to this day.
Now,
solar eclipse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Middle of the day. Well,
wow.
It wasn't terribly early. I guess around dinner time.
I believe that we slipped. I believe we had deja vus, and I also believe we have I actually think that you can walk into alternate, what do you call it, worlds or something. I mean, I believe that amongst us there's other things. Some people call them ghosts, spirits, or whatever, frequencies. Does anybody believe, well, I believe you this because I've had weird shit happen to me. But has anyone else experienced something like this? Because I'm not even going to the things I've experienced. But I'd like to hear if anybody else has had experiences like this.
You'll hear something funny? I told a couple, they're like, man, you must have had a stroke or something.
Oh, you got to be kidding.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think so.
Feeling just fine now. No, I actually believe you, and I believe that some people call them time slips. I guess I actually just think every once in a while we get to glimpse another dimension, and some of us more than others.
Yes. I tend to think of eclipses, lunar eclipse or solar eclipse time period on an astrological level because I studied it, and because there's always a change. Like something major will happen around eclipses. Solar, more of a masculine, lunar is more feminine. For instance, a lady that worked for my husband for years just quit because of bad health, and it was right around a lunar eclipse, and things like that happen, or a death of somebody, and it can be change. It doesn't mean death or ending, but usually it's always a change for the better, although it seems like it's going to be terrible at first. I've always found that the changes that happen specific to your sign. Now that's just on astrological level that I look at eclipses. Physically, I don't, I sun gaze, but I don't do the eclipses. I don't, full moons, yes, super moons, yes, but I don't, like you, Linda, I don't do that.
It might be in our blood too, sister, that we were kind of taught not to, just DNA.
Yeah, remembrance of, I tend to kind of hibernate certain times.
Yeah. So Anna, do you believe in those kind of maybe just maybe sometimes you get to see just something different, different frequency. How do I want to say it? You bump into something and then all of a sudden you're back out into this reality, but like another reality. Have you ever experienced that?
Not quite that, but the dimensions, it makes sense because there's so many dimensions, and I do believe that they're here, but each one is kind of slightly invisible to the next. So I think there is a kind of overlapping sometimes.
Yes.
And I might feel it by walking into a room, and there's just a weird feeling. There's just a really weird feeling, and to me, I always feel like that's just there's some kind of energy, some kind of dimension that's there, but I'm not aware of it. I can't actually experience. It's not there to me, but I'm feeling it somehow.
Deja vu is a kind of a similar. In fact, when I have deja vu, I have learned to realize my deja vu means something big is going to change in my life, and it's not always good. But I mean, it turns out better later, because all change is for the better later. But going through it, it's always been negative. And so I look at it now, for me, kind of as an omen. When we were kids, we had them all the time. I had them all the time. And then as I've gotten older, when I experience it, it kind of stops me for a while, and I'm like, oh, what's going to happen now? And sure enough, and that's just been my experience with my deja vu. And that is maybe a dimensional thing. Whether we dreamed it or we saw it,
or it's precognition or something.
Right.
It could be any.
It brings me out of. I'm coasting through a day and it happens. It brings me into immediately. I just start thinking, wow, what's going on here? And it changes my perspective for the rest of the day. If I'm having one of those coasting days and it happens, it completely changes the tone of the rest of the day.
Maybe it kind of wakes you. It pulls me back, and I'm not trying to say it's a bad thing. I'm not saying that. For my experience, there was always a change. There's always something that's going to happen that I'm going to have to face. Could be an inner challenge, something about myself I have to face that I haven't willing to look at, or it can be something on the outside. I have dreams about my own children. For my oldest, for instance, I can dream of a death of him, and all it means is he's changing his life. But it doesn't mean it's for the best. So I dream for my children and see those things. So I don't know. Just like the birds hitting the window or the owls hooting. Back when I was a Christian, when I was very religious, I asked some people who were Christian, why do I still receive signs if that's supposed to be evil? So to me, it's not evil. It's a part of nature. We're connected to it. Things are talking to us, speaking to us, showing us things. And I was just told to pray it away, that it was the devil. It never went away. And it wasn't the devil. It was, but that's how crazy it can be as far as that goes. And I'm not bashing Christians at all, by all means, because that's not my point. I'm just saying being in my blood, maybe because of the omens or the signs that I get, they never went away, you know. And I thought there was something wrong with me those years when it was just a part of who I am. Does that make sense, Linda? You know.
Yes, it does make total sense. And I think everybody, when they're, all right, I don't know if it's waking up or whatever we want to call this, a spiritual awakening, everybody thinks something's wrong with them. They do. Why me? Am I alone in this? Am I the only person this is happening to? Am I going nuts? Because I think we've all went through that feeling of, you know, it's almost like a madness in a way. But then I go back to, look, I have seen things my whole life. You know, some people had imaginary friends, I guess. Well, my imaginary friend's still here. I wish he'd come on the internet and say hello, but he won't. I believe I have a, some people believe they have spirit guides. Mine's very visible, and when people are visiting, and if I'm getting, you know, like say the people are getting on my nerves, I don't know if it's me manifesting this or it's just my spiritual guide that others have actually physically seen. Well, he acts out sometimes and likes to scare them, which I wish that he wouldn't scare them. He's harmless. He actually saved me from my house catching on fire, though. So it's a real deal to me, because there was every noise and everything shaking in my house to get me to go into one room where a lamp was catching on fire. And it woke my son up, too. And he showed himself to my son, who said, "Who is that man standing there?" And I said, "Don't worry, everything's okay." And he went away. My dog was barking, and but this is an Indian side of me that I've accepted. And my aunt said, "Hey, you were blessed, you know, when I was born with this certain spirit guide." I guess they didn't call it that. So I think I live in a super highway, though. I think this house I live on has so much stuff going through it. If you go to the other, I have a bathroom right next to me, but there's one on the other side of the house. You go there in the middle of the night, and if you don't see shadows or something passing by you, and we're in a rural, there's no headlights or nothing, we're in a rural area, then you're just dumb and blind. I'm serious, because everyone has said, "I think your house is haunted." And I said, "I don't think it's haunted. I just think it's a freeway." Something passes through. It's not scary. They don't stop. They're busy with their own thing. It's just like and I don't know if people have ever experienced that. Like the coyote. I know that some of you heard me talk about the coyote that's in the yard. I needed a sign. I was going through some drama and trouble in my life. And a coyote stood in our yard in daylight by itself. Huge, beautiful coyote. Eyes staring at me. Kenny went to get a weapon, thought I'm going to kill the coyote. And I said, "No, this is a message for me." And we stood there, and the coyote gave me the message, turned around and walked away. And Kenny's like shaking his head, saying, "You're spooky." The coyote just disappeared. And, you know, it wasn't spooky to me, but I knew everything was going to be okay after that, and it was.
Do you ever find, though, if you're at that point where you're needing a sign, and you ask for it, that you do get it back?
Yes.
I find that 9 times out of 10, something will come back, will just show me, and it could be little things. God, the end of my last divorce, my second divorce, I got on a really, really low one day. And I was walking down this empty lane. The sky was absolutely clear, and I remember, you know, if there's something there, would you please show me? I'm so desperate now. I just need something. And all of a sudden, there was like the sky was full of birds. I know this sounds nutty, but it was full of birds out of nowhere. And I know you get the big flocks of birds that do their thing, but this was like huge.
Right. That was a sign.
It was there, and then it went, and I felt fantastic after it. There's always something all the way through, I think. If you're looking for it, if you ask for it, when you need it, it's there.
Yes.
personally, I think.
I think if we believe, and sometimes well, that's one of the things they've done, is dulled our memory of our spirit, not because we have our spirit, period. They can't take that. No, nothing can be taken. That cannot be taken. But they've dulled our memory of who we are, what we have, if that makes sense, and the spirit world, and that we can communicate with animals. We can communicate and have signs that are not just, someone, not, that doesn't have to be like this little object here. It has to, and the haunting thing. This house is haunted, supposedly, but I'm not afraid of what's here. I've cleansed my home. My kids have played and thought it was fun to be scared of it until they freaked themselves out over it. I said, as long as you're afraid, this thing will scare you, whatever it is. It plays games. And I said, it doesn't bother me. I mean, it's tried to spook me, I think, whatever it was, and I just looked at it and I was like, whatever. And they've learned to not be afraid of it, ignore it. And guess what? We all live rather peacefully now. So whatever that is, we've had the people come to our door and say, this house is haunted. We want to know what's going on here. And I'm like, man, I don't know. I mean, we're not paying attention to that because it's kind of a mischievous spirit. I don't really want to communicate with the dead, because if the dead are still stuck here, then they didn't know how to get out of here in the first place. So, but angels, and there is a good spirit. There's goodness that does try to help us and reach out to us.
You guys, I would like to talk to the chat room. We've got some just awesome responses here. Harry Cookie Monster says, for me, deja vu is like anchoring. It is a link to the true self that has already experienced that situation, location, dipping a spiritual toe into a quantum ocean, is often described as the Akashic records. Okay, I would agree, because I had deja vu. Mr. Tommy Boy, yes, I did send spirit your way to wake your butt up so you'd be here. He said he felt spirits coming to him. He thought it was me waking him up. He was joking there. But he said he's got 2 dogs. Sometimes I'll catch something crawling around by the side of my eye, and there is nothing there. But I know in some other dimension something is there. Kind of weird, but happens. And I'm not nuts, so I know something else is going on than just me breathing. Good point on the bird hitting the window. And when I don't put bird food out, they come by the front door and stare at me like I'm not doing my job in the backyard. Well, you better do your job there, because I call Kenny. Kenny talks with the crows. If Kenny goes outside, crows just surround him and they talk to one another. I don't know what they say, but I think birds are good signals. And deja vu, I mean, that was awesome on the Tommy Boy. It is true. There are dimensions out there. Hell of a Deal said, first time I went to Bighorn Mountains, I felt like I was coming home. I had never been there, but knew where the medicine circles were without a map or anyone telling me where to look. Wish I could go back there, but Yellowstone is getting angry. I agree. I think Yellowstone is getting a little bit angry there. And yes, isn't that weird how we can go places we've never been and know right where to go? I actually think it's a DNA instinctual moment happening. Something's coming up to tell you that. James Owen says, lonely. I'm Mr. Lonely. Okay, we're going to let, no, you're not. You're here with us. El Chavez says, deja vu, many times I see before something happens or as it is happening. I'm too afraid to change the circumstances. Welcome, High Desert Pioneer. Yeah, this is kind of deep, but we wanted to touch subjects that other people do not dare touch, because I believe we've all had these experiences, if that answers your question. And thanks for joining us. Naked Eyes. One time during, I'm glad you're here, sister, and I'm glad you can hear us through your phone. One time during sleep paralysis, I went into what I believe was another dimension. It looked like I was moving through the inside of Golden Clock. Before that, an orb was in my room. It started making a figure 8, and bigger until it went inside of me. Wow. Now see, those are the kind of things that we probably, I'm sure a lot of us have had those kind of experiences. Mm-hmm. And we don't really want to say we have had those. Real Sweet is here, and I thank you for showing up, sister. Some people are talking about their TVs have been off for a while. That's good. Chad Lilly is here. I'm just seeing what people are saying. The plug and the drug, I think that would be probably the TV, because TV is in a way like a drug. It does sedate you. That I will.
Yeah, it's been scientifically proven that it alters brainwave in your state of consciousness. That you're in an accepting, non-questioning state most of the time when you're indulged in TV.
I had the whole
From Urban to Country Homestead says hello, and hello to you. On Servant says, you wouldn't believe me if I told you the best explanation of our current situation is described in the Nag Hammadi Gnostic text. The book was a godsend for me going through the long night of the soul. If I pronounce that wrong, I'm sorry. I don't get to, everyone has their thing, and I would love to learn about some of these things through chats, because I am not familiar with a lot of things that people do study. I do know the Native American side, and that's the only side I really delve in, and I would like to learn the other ways. Sleep paralysis is akin to an alien abduction. It's a spiritual attack. That was hell of a deal. I can see into other dimensions sometimes, says J.S. John Meeson says, good evening. All thank you for the invite and apologies. Been late. I hope I haven't missed much. Well, we're kind of still on the same topic. Rodney Johnson, I talk to infinity. I get goosebumps, sort of like a washing effect. I used to see teachers in nature that would answer a question. Then once I noticed it would lose, the teacher faded back to its normal. Intuition is the key in hunting for signs. I actually totally agree that, and I'll even use the breast crawl. This system we're in has took us away from our very first intuition. And if you'd like to know what that is, it's called the breast crawl. Just look it up. I don't even need to put a link. You can go on YouTube and look for baby breast crawl. When you were born, your first intuition is to find your mother's breast and to eat. And the babies do it all by themselves. They crawl from the stomach to the breast, and they take us away at birth, so we lose our very first instinct. Hell of a deal. I wanted to read one more. Hell of a deal did say negative energy often takes the form of a poltergeist. It often really is strong emotion of someone living that comes into the room. Those people often do not realize they're doing it and think they're haunted. Look, I know when someone's draining me. I could be around people that just completely drain me, and I know who they are. So I avoid the draining people. Some people can drain other people. You guys have probably experienced this too. I am not seeing a lot of the comments either. Tennessee, the mountain man from Tennessee asked, are we on ley lines? Well, oh, this is deeper. Well, I think there's ley lines everywhere. On major ley lines, we're on the right near the 44th parallel, or just a little beyond that. So I don't know. I talk to water because I think water, because it flows, is just as important as a ley line. So I talk to the earth when I'm walking around. I picked berries the other night, blackberries, I just thought I'd let you know. And I talk to the water when I'm around it, because water flows.
Water's healing.
Yes. And I see there's a lot of people I'm missing on here, and I'm sorry you guys aren't showing up. James Owen, yes, we do listen to you. Mountain Mama said, one of the reasons I'm not a Christian is my lifelong spiritual experiences that I can't read all this. I have to go to each different page. Why aren't people showing up, I'm wondering.
Mine.
Sorry, I did that. I didn't mean to do that. I am missing a lot of you guys' post here. So
Joe Mama joined us.
Who did?
Joe Mama?
Yeah.
Joe Mama?
Yep.
Yeah, I can tell you about group hallucinations in evangelical church services. You want to talk about that?
Sure. You're right, on that.
Joe Mama, welcome. If you can't talk, try pressing the mic, go up above. If you're muted, it doesn't say you're muted though. We can't hear you. Can you hear us?
He's never done this before, so
okay.
it's all new.
All right, I'm going to try to talk you through this. He's never done this before. Just help me talk Joe Mama through this.
He'll need at least a microphone to hook up, or if he's got one built into his laptop, he'll need to go into settings and make sure it's turned on.
I heard him. So I think we can hear him.
Okay.
Correct? Did I hear him or I hear someone else? He said that he has never done this before.
If you attempt to put the mouse up towards the top of the page, those symbols will come up, and you've got the mic one there and the cam one.
Hover.
Yeah, he doesn't say muted. It would show us if he was muted, and he's not muted.
Yeah, the little gear will allow you to adjust the stuff somewhat.
Okay, at the top there's a gear. If you run your mouse over the top of this page, and you'll see where a little person, you'll see a microphone. I heard a pop noise. Is that you, Joe Mama? There's also a camera. There's adjust your bandwidth, and then there's a setting there. And it'll help you with your microphone there if you need help with the mic, because we're not hearing you. Also, if you go to the left side of the page, there's a blue box there. He popped off. Well, doggone, I was going to tell him he could write us. What I need to do is do a private chat and teach him how to do this so he can come into one. Do you guys find some people drain your energy? Because if you're around negative people that aren't uplifting, do they drain you? Do they do that to anybody in the chat room also? Because if I'm around negative people that always want to talk about, that never laugh, that don't live in a way, I mean, if you're just involved in conspiracy stuff constantly, it's a shame, because you're missing a lot of life, because there's beauty out there in nature. Our earth is alive. But if you're around people that just drain your energy, are you guys ever around those kind of people? Because I just completely walk away from them if they are draining. I can't be around them.
Yeah,
they're like vampires.
They are. They're spiritual vampires. I don't. I lose people real quick like that. I don't spend any more time around them. I'm pretty busy with my own family. I noticed in my daughter when she was having trouble, she was very draining. She wasn't meaning to be, but she was going through, you know, those things that she was going through, which she's better now. So she doesn't do that now. But when she was involved in that, and I can believe probably at one time when I was living my wild lifestyle, I probably drained because I was empty. And I think if you're empty, we seek those with light or substance in them. We've overcome some things, and we will maybe some people are maybe consciously doing it, but I think some are unconsciously pulling it from you because they don't know how to find it themselves yet. Does that make sense? And I won't mess around. I mean, I'm nice, but I don't like. If we meet people like my husband's coworkers, we've had to go with them sometimes. There'll be people, and I don't care to ever see them again, and I won't, because they're just something happens, something's bad attached to that, and I feel. But yeah, the spiritual draining can be where you're physically tired, you're in a bad mood, you feel like you just were zapped, that pisses me off personally, so I just don't go back anything to do with it. Where I didn't used to know, right? Back, a long time ago, I go through that all the time because I was surrounded by people like me, so we were just feeding off each other. And I didn't know what it was, because I was lost in my own little disease, so to speak, whatever it was that I was going through, my addictions. But yeah, that is true. Yeah, I don't mess with people like that anymore.
Go ahead, Anna.
Oh, right. There's an echo. No,
I was an echo.
There was, wasn't there?
We got a ghost. We got a ghost in the computer.
Nice one.
Yeah, that's okay. I was going to say something to Jerrae. Jerrae, you've went through a lot in your life, and the one thing I'm going to tell you, and you already know this, is how brave and how much courage you have to come out and tell people the personal struggles you've had, and the honesty about it, which other people, to me, are fake when they won't tell you about. They try to hide like they've been perfect their whole lives. Not one of us. I'm not perfect by any means whatsoever, and I admire you because you have came out and you have put that on the line, and I know you took a lot of shit from it, and shame on those people because they haven't looked in the mirror themselves. And I just wanted to tell you, I'm glad you're my sister because at least you have the courage. That's an honorable thing, and that shows. I know you're my sister by blood too because that's honorable. That's all I can say, to have the courage and the honesty to come forth with that stuff. And yeah. I'm here listening, guys. I just got to do something real quick. Go ahead and talk. I'm just listening.
Oh, that computer crash is very timely. I hate that. Go ahead. Where did Joe go?
I'm going to have to do a private chat with him and teach him how to do this so we can have him on.
Absolutely.
Because he's an awesome guy.
Yeah.
And
really,
it was both good and bad timing. My computer crashed. It was bad timing because I wasn't able to give any up, but I really needed to take a leak.
I would say, did you go outside? But I'm not going there.
The sun's up. I don't need to go mark my territory.
Direction where you're
at least till the skunks and the possums start coming back, then I'll have to go around the perimeter again.
There you go.
You guys, we have got an awesome audience out here. I still James Owen says my family don't drain me. Maybe it comes back on me because they won't listen. Who knows? Well, if you're telling the truth and they're not ready to hear the truth, that might be part of the problem. Rodney Johnson says conspiracy is fear generated. Too much is not good for you, but it's good to be aware. Absolutely, we all agree on that. But leave it and allow it to show itself, as there is a lot of hidden agendas taking place. Totally agree with that. Harry Cookie Munster, positivity is an outward flow of energy, giving creative, loving, etc. Negativity is an inward flow, drawing energy from outside into the center, like the idea of a black hole. I agree with that sometimes. I have a hell of a deal says I have a source of limitless light. Well, I wish you could spread that. Electric Blue, hi. I'm glad you're here and wish you would come visit me. My work is quite draining, although there's a few folks there that are positive, but it's mostly very, yeah, I know where you work. It's drudgery all day. Electric Blue, please come visit me again. I know that person personally. He's young and he's awake. I should say that. How's that? I wanted to see, I think I saw someone who was on here and they're not showing up. Yes, here it is. Here's a sister. She is called Stolo Nation Warrior. She is a sister in British Columbia. And she said, yes, Linda, I am a water person, as you know. Great chat. And thanks for your insights. And she is indigenous, so she understands when we talk that way. And I'm glad that we do have indigenous on here watching. Who did I see? Was it the Mama Bear or somebody on here, or someone that talked about religion, and I don't see theirs, and I really wanted to see it.
Mountain Mama saying she's not a Christian because of you couldn't find it or something.
Yeah. And still can't. Oh, Mountain Mama. One of the reasons I'm not a Christian is my lifelong spiritual experiences they don't believe in. Agreed. Totally. Knowledge, you know, I believe that beliefs are what you're told, and knowledge is what you experience, and that's just an old Indian saying, and I still follow that because it seems to be truth.
Yes.
For me. So, you know, that's how I have to put things out there. You know, I can tell you guys anything, you know, I'm the Messiah, and I came back. I just came back in the woman's form. I forgot to tell all you guys that. The Bible didn't tell you that, so we're going to rearrange it. See, that would be a bunch of horse shit if I started stuff like that. But if you experience something and you know it's true, right. So there's your knowledge. And if you experience things in nature and see things and all that, you know for a fact it's true. Whether others have seen it or not, you know in your heart what is true. And it doesn't mean you're crazy if you see stuff other people don't. Right. Yes, before you got cut off, you said something about mass. Was it like a mass hallucination or mass people seeing things? Because I've been involved in that.
Mass.
With the group.
Hysteria?
Yeah, hysteria. Group hallucination.
I've been on a spiritual journey where there was 3 of us out of 4 that saw the same thing, and I brought it up as I said, do you guys see this? They were finishing my sentence. We went back to find this place. It was a sign. It was a literal sign that said something, and it was just so out of the ordinary. I read the first word. They were reading the rest of it. We turned around. The 4th person did not see it in the car, and there was no sign there. And it was like we had just flipped into one of those alternate realms and then flipped right back out. But we all felt fantastic afterwards, and that person who didn't experience it didn't feel that way. Then we were all connected almost in that, and this was a spiritual journey I took in 2013. And I felt sorry because he didn't get to experience what the 3 of us did, because it was like we were on a high for the rest of the day. It was something that needed to be seen.
Yeah, that's an entirely different thing than what I was mentioning. What I was mentioning, it mostly involves somebody, you know, repeatedly feeding ideas and things into the group, you know, yes. And inducing a hysterical reaction rather than any kind of experience. It's just
like the Benny Hinn stuff.
Pardon?
The Benny Hinn guy, the pastor that will touch a group and they all fall down.
Yeah, it's mental backwash. It's self-delusion, and of course, you know, you know the accusation that can be thrown at a lot of things if people don't really know the difference. You know, of course, you know, a skeptic that don't know anything is going to say, or somebody that's just wanting to be a dick, oh, it's all that, you know, it's all fake. Okay, fine, you're welcome to your opinion. But you
Wait
know,
a
you're
minute.
closing yourself off from any possibility of knowing whether it's absolutely true or not.
Right.
Somebody, well, I want to know. Somebody touches somebody and everybody does what? They fall down?
The televangelist, there's a guy that's a televangelist named Benny Hinn or Benny something, and he does these big, you know, some of you know who I'm talking about, and he'll touch the people's, go to the forehead, and I guess he's invoking the Holy Spirit, which, you know, because I think we already have the Spirit in us, but these people just all fall down. It's just, you know, that's to me. I mean, and I grew up in some churches that people were falling down and doing all kinds of weird things and freaked me out.
Gibberish. My son drug me to his church. I have one son that doesn't know if he wants to be a Christian or not, and it's a Pentecostal church, and they were speaking tongues. I guess they call them tongues. You've been to one. Oh, wow.
And when I finally figured out what was going on, and I finally figured out what the Pentecost really was, and I tried to explain to them, oh, you talk about hate.
Oh, yes. They'll turn on you, and they're mean. They're no different. To me, it's like no different than practicing black magic. When people pray their will on you, it's the same thing. They're all trying to control.
It's almost like a cult, you know. They constrict you. They feed things into your head. They keep you gassed up. They keep you worked up, and you experience what you're expecting to experience, and the way you're expecting to experience it because it's all in your head.
Like a hypnosis, and they can kind of like anything like the TV. Like guarding our mind and spirit is huge when it comes to all of that. You know, just like the Jim Jones cult.
Yeah.
Everything can be put under somebody who uses their abilities of leadership, abusive, obviously, like that. So.
You know, there's a lot of around those tent revivals. I tell you.
I slapped the shit out of my son and said, if you want to be in something like this, I'll just go get you some rattlesnakes and you can play with them. See how far you get. I don't know what my son was thinking taking me into that place.
I never go to one of those places. No thanks.
Me neither.
Just lock the door after yourself when you go in there with those snakes. I don't want them out.
Does your son still go to that church, Linda?
No, my son has decided that he's going to accept the Indian part of him, which he's got. His dad had Indian in him too, so he's got a lot of Indian in him. So he's now embracing the Native American culture.
Right.
Which he only did this because I think his girlfriend went there, and I really did. When I went to visit him, I had to slap him. I slapped him. It was like, I'll just go down to, because it was in Louisiana, I said, I'll just go down to the bayou and get you some rattlesnakes. I mean, you might as well play with them if you're going to play with people like this. I mean, that was the most absurd thing I'd ever seen. To me, it was a joke. I saw people were literally taking it seriously. But I don't do well in the houses of gods. So, it's no use in taking me in there because I've had one of my nieces drag me in there and I'll embarrass them and I don't mean to, but I'm not going to sit through the bullshit without speaking my mind and embarrassing them. And so maybe my kids have learned, don't do it.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not going to do something that I know is dangerous, expecting to get protection. You know, that's tempting your luck and tempting your protector. You know, that's unnecessary.
That's right. I had an aversion from church early on. Hated it. Felt I never belonged there. I felt very rebellious and hateful even in there, and I wanted out. And when I tried to be a Christian, I would go and hate it still, end up leaving in the worst mood ever. And I thought because I was been told there was demons in me. That's why I didn't want to go, and I was fighting church off. And now that's over with, but I'm not saying everyone in church is bad. I'm not trying to categorize the whole thing. I just know that I did not belong there. Never did I belong in a church, and I felt it. as if I was walking in some place that had a darker aura, maybe, whatever it was. But I thought I was bad for it, for not wanting to go or liking it for so long, because I was told that, you know. But I don't believe that no more. You know what I mean? So.
Yes.
Yeah,
I got to read some of this out before we go any farther. This is getting cool. All right. Here's one to you. All right. Jerrae, this is from Real Sweet. We love listening to you. Your videos keep me sane and balanced. Tony B. Okay. I'm proud of you for coming out and saying this. Had a problem with drugs for 20 years. Have been clean for 7 years next month. I was really lost, but family and friends, and believe it or not, but I prayed and I felt it helped me. I pray constantly. I smudge and pray. My prayers are in my own fashion. And you guys see this, and I'm not a witch by no means. I smudge and pray all the time. So yes, I believe in the power of prayer. It's just in my fashion I pray, and I'm glad it helped you, and that's a lot of courage to tell us. Hell of a deal. We are all people with the hearts of people. If I ever found out how we could be perfect in ourselves, I could make $1 million. LOL. Okay, somebody. I think we're going to start in here on the televangelist in a minute. All right. Somebody says, so this is where the smart ladies hang out. Hi all, and that is Made in UK 77. Well, thank you very much. I think it's a spiritual meeting. The physical. And it's the negative we are feeling. That's El Chavez. Hell of a deal says, I am mostly water too. LOL. Water is the miracle molecule. I agree. Stray Dog Crew said, if you're here to liberate us, you're the Messiah. I was just joking, Stray Dog. But thank you very much. And we love you, brother. Real Sweet, I've seen your orbs on your window screen. Quit recording them. And we'll talk about that later. I want to talk to you personally on Google about that.
I just thought, I wonder how many lives the water in me has lived, because it circulates, you know, from the earth to the sky, back to the earth, and through every living thing.
I agree. That's a good question. We have hell of a deal on here. Said Trinity Broadcast System, and those who have shows on there are from the Church of Satan. Send your money, and we will pray healing power on you. Hell of a deal also says, I've taken up snakes and danced around. It was exhilarating. So you've been watching those shows, right? Hell of a deal. James Owen says, goodbye all. James, we're glad you stopped by, and you're not alone. We do listen to you, and we love you. We got a lot of other stuff that just popped in. Sorry, we just refreshed. In October, it will be 19 years clean and sober. Thanks to my higher power and friends, that's hell of a deal. Electric Blue said, thanks, Linda, and yes, we should visit soon. First flyover, please don't blame Jesus for what evil people do in his name. They hijacked Jesus a long time ago. That's, you know, I'm not going to blame Jesus. I think, I don't know, I wasn't back in the time of Jesus that I know of, you know, in my life. I believe if Jesus, what his word said, they don't practice. You're exactly right. Didn't he say, love your neighbor as you love yourself? And everybody here, you know, I see people hating their neighbors. So Jesus had some very beautiful words. I agree. I think he tried to point out the corrupt people and they murdered him. Yes. So I'm not hating on Jesus at all. I don't really know. Look, I went to an Indian school and they tried to tell me with a what they beat you with, that Jesus likes riffraff like me, but they were beating me while they were saying that. So that, you know, was kind of didn't work that well. But what I have read of Jesus, he was cool. It's the religion part that sucked.
Thank you.
So yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to hate on Jesus. I think that we all know in our DNA, and I know everybody here knows what I'm about to say, if you've heard me. I think that we all, if the Creator created us, we were created in the Creator's image. All the rules we need are in our and instructions on how to behave are encoded in our DNA. in our spirit. We are spiritual beings, and that has been hijacked. I don't think we need a book of rules. I don't think we need any of that. I think we need to become unindoctrinated. And that is how I feel.
Absolutely. I agree.
So, and that's my personal viewpoint, and I'll shut up and let other people talk now.
Can I say something about Jesus and whatnot?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, in my family there's a few different kind of faiths going on, and I've been to a few of their kind of churches and whatnot, and I had a really hard time dealing with these in each kind of service when I was there. And then one day it dawned on me, replace the word that they're using for the Jesus or whatever it is that they're believing in with whatever I believe in, source or God or whatever. And you know, when I did that, it all made sense. It all made sense. All these different religions were near enough saying the same thing, but they have a different name.
Right. That's what I say. Christ, God. To me, my Creator is it's our Creator. You know, I don't. Yeah. And that's how I am too about it. It's truth for me. It's love and it's purity.
Yeah.
It's not. You know, I have different views than I used to, and I believe our Creator is not. I mean, this might be a big bad thing to say. I don't know, and I really don't care. But He's not a wrath. I think and I'm going to speak just in whatever terms here, because we can understand them. Because I don't know that we know all the names. But in our own English language, the God of this world is the God of wrath, the darkness, or whatever it is. That's just me, though. Because when there was a time when I was sobering up, I was praying to my Creator, my God, the higher power. At the time is what I could accept. God, my Creator. I was not living the Christian way, other than just being sober was about the best I could do, and that He was helping me stay sober, I believed. And He was walking with me and helping me, and miracles were happening. And I thought I had to go to church, read my Bible, and I had to do all these things that I was raised to believe that I had to do to be accepted. And that was not what I found out, if that makes sense. But then I later went back, even after that, thinking, okay, I'm going to be a Christian, because it was just ingrained in me. And then, like I said, I had the purging of the religion. I didn't lose my truth of, what my Creator is. I just lost my religion.
Yeah.
Religion is abusive to the mind, for me. It actually will make someone crazy. It made me crazy, too, for a while. So, and I can see the difference. My husband was not raised that way. And in his acceptance of a Creator, without all this other fodder, he's looked at me and said, God, I'm glad I wasn't raised in religion. So we don't relate raised that way. So
I couldn't imagine what I would be like if I had been raised in that, what you just said. I was raised to believe there was a universal Creator who created us all, and there was not supposed to be separation between us, that man created the separation between cultures, that we were supposed to learn from one another and protect the earth and protect each other. That is what I was taught, and I'm glad I was taught that way.
I agree. That's it. Having respect for nature, and that doesn't, I've been told, oh, you're just believing that Mother Earth garbage. Our earth was created by our Creator, our God. How can it be garbage? And if you want to go back to what in the Bible, we were to tend to the animals and to the earth, not destroy it, not rape it, like we do with another.
Well, we got to go digging in the Old Testament, even though we're not in that covenant, to push our dogma and our agenda to this group that we want to make our thing because we want to be this way, and it's more of a personal interest thing than it is his interest, or even our best interest.
Right. And
I get to thinking about the snake handling thing. I mean, that sticks in my head. It would be like, hey, I tell you what, you're a good friend of mine. You make these snakes not bite me so that I can show off to everybody that I got a friend that'll protect me, and I'm going to dance around with them, and you're going to make them not. You're not going to make them not bite me, and I'm going to keep doing this over and over again. That's a problem to treat somebody.
Right.
And get bit. I think maybe the creator gets sick of it. It's like, oh, what do you think I am? You think I'm your slave? You know?
Yes, it's the law of nature. It's
Creator with respect. You know?
right.
An sentient entity. Come on. He's not there for your amusement.
Well, what comedian said? Why would Jesus want to come back now with everybody wearing a cross to remind him of how he died? I mean, can you imagine? And come back and say, I'm not going back there. They're all wearing crosses, man. That'd be like, people wearing guillotines if you were beheaded by a guillotine, So,
doesn't that show how perverse religion can be, though? Just that point there. That we're wearing the cross. Yeah. A
lot of Muslims it's actually idolatry. All the paintings, the icons, and the crosses and stuff. I tend to agree with that. That point of view on it. Anyways, I don't necessarily agree with everything they have to think or say, but they do have some really good sense in what they of course I don't agree with all of it. But I do see some good sense in it, and I do see a good sense in a lot of different belief systems.
Right.
I think they are. I went to India to experience in the 70s to see a Monsignor that quit the Catholic Church before he died, but also to meet some different kinds of peoples. And this is before all the wars in India. And you know what? Everybody got along. It didn't matter what religion. They all sat around and hung out and talked. It was totally awesome. It was like I walked into what I'd always wanted to walk into. Now, I know it's not that way there anymore. And if you were poor, people fed you. You were fed. Some of the I don't know, I hung around for a brief time. I wasn't there, but 2 weeks. And some Christians were trying to get me to drink cow urine. I really wasn't into that. But I'm not going to put them down. That's their thing, and they were really good to cows. I have to tell you that. So I'm not really, every religion, and I don't say I have a religion. I was just brought up in a culture. Mine's a cultural thing, and I think we ought to go back to cultures. Cultures had some things going on because people used it around what was in their environment and what needed to be celebrated and stuff. Like harvest, every culture celebrated a harvest. It wasn't evil. They had food for the next year, and they had worked for that. That's something to celebrate. I think we need to get back to those kind of things. And no, Thanksgiving is not a harvest in America, you guys. It's not a harvest celebration, nor is it an Indian celebration.
Even though they try to plant that over, even though they try to, push that and paint that over top of it. It, like a lot of other things that were from other cultures, got overshadowed by itself. I mean, even Easter with its rabbits and its eggs, that has absolutely nothing to do with. The whole point was to overshadow the pagan spring festivals. Let's. I mean, keep your own holy dates. What's the deal with trying to overshadow everybody else?
Control.
Lose your own identity of your own thing, trying to be such a control freak. It's ridiculous.
But look at the Vatican, how it's laid out. I mean, the Vatican City doesn't even look like a holy. To me, that Catholic city with all the symbolism, none of it really looks like, to me, what the Christians would call Christian symbolism. It looks like Egyptian and other stuff to me. It doesn't even, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I should probably shut up there. That's off topic. But I'm being serious. I mean,
with you. It's kind of creepy looking, if you ask me. All of it's creepy. I don't know.
Curious minds want to know.
Okay, it's just damn creepy.
I don't want to talk about Catholics. My mother's family is all Catholics. They're wonderful people. I don't. It's not about it being good people. I mean, and then on my father's side, you know, there was Christians, but there were Native American culture, so it was. They're good people. Good people everywhere, and there's bad people. Whether you're Christian, Hindu, Islam, whatever it is, atheist. I think, like you said, Dystopian, that we should not try to force anything upon someone else when it comes to their spiritual relationship with their Creator. It cannot be, and that, like Linda said, it's an experience. You experience it, it becomes your truth. Nobody can teach you that or force that on you, right? And you have to experience it yourself. And we all got to hate each other because, well, it's this way and then, you know, that way. And I'm done with all that. The hell with it.
If it, then why isn't everybody having true experiences? Why isn't everybody having true revelations? Why do I feel like a lot of people are just putting on for show to keep the ball rolling along, you know, to keep the collection plate going around, to keep the endless edition being built?
Right. Oh, that's another thing. Yes, there's. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to start getting into doing what I don't want to do, and that is the endless projects. And when there's people that are hungry, and then they can build a brand new wing. It's just, you know, I just see it all as corrupt in that regard. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying everybody in there is corrupt either. I just say that there's our priorities, I guess, are twisted. I think for especially when you get into different religions. But that doesn't mean that everyone's bad in whatever religion. I just think as long as we can, I'm not hold your hands, kumbaya, because we know that's never going to happen. But we can at least within ourselves, within people with like mind who can understand that we can sit down and disagree and still be kind to one another, respect one another. You know, we don't have to get in a fight and I'll never talk to you again. Now, I won't. There's some people I will never have nothing to do with again because I think they're, you know, a little nuttier than me. You know, maybe. You know, not too. And I, you know, because I don't think I'm sane. I'm serious, but I think that. Well, I'm sane, but. You know what I mean? But some people that are just mean, or maybe they're lost. Like my ex would be a good example. He's in prison. He needs to be there. I think we imprison too many people, but he needs to be there because he hurt everybody, you know? But I just want to be around good folk who can get along with others.
I do too.
Have
Hey,
fun.
I'm gonna read some more of these things. We got great chat here. Stolo Nation Warrior says, "Touche, Jerrae, you found the light, and it shows in your words. Love, be love." John Messens, if I mispronounce you guys' names, please forgive me. "I think the only way to truly succeed in a spiritual path is to follow your own." I agree. I believe it's personal within us all. Stray Dog said, "The kingdom of God is within each of us, so God has over 7 billion kingdoms, each unique and very different. He, she will surely have a different name in each kingdom, and only those consumed by darkness will find fault in a simple name." Totally agree with that. Bill Hicks was the one that said that about Jesus on the cross. Thank you very much, Stray Dog. "Satan is the spirit of confusion wrapped in a shiny box," said hell of a deal. Reverend Galileo said, "Great chat. Good to see people talking about real spirituality." Here you go. Here's Bond Servant again saying, "In Yukon, Oklahoma, there is a Catholic high school right across the street from a public high school that has a huge bronze cross with a dead Jesus on it. It's just mind-blowing that we allow that in our society they worship death while they preach life. That is how mind control works." I actually totally agree. That would blow my mind. I mean, I might be one to sabotage something like that. Okay, I mean, you got that one right. That is mind control. Stray Dog said, "To give worship to anything other than our Creator is idolatry. The church is idolatry. The cross is idolatry. The Bible is idolatry. They are representations or replicas or of the real deal, idols designed to prevent us from knowing the Creator. If we know the Creator, why do we need to give a bunch of losers 10% of our money and 100% of our ass?" And actually, you made a great point because I had talked about once, was it with you, Dis, when I said I ought to do a Indian ceremony, would get some people to do an Indian ceremony and then stop it in the middle and turn around and because every time I've been in church they do this. They'll be in the middle of something and then all these men walk up with these platters and they pass the cigarette and want money. And I thought, man, we ought to do an Indian ceremony and I get people to participate and then I interrupt the ceremony, you know, at the drum and say, hold it, wait a minute. It's time for us to pass around the collection plate. And to see how, I mean, just to see the irony of that, because, you know, Indians would look at you like, are you flipping nuts? I mean, I just thought it'd be a good joke, but I didn't do it because I would offend people, and I'm not out to do that. But why money, and why do they have shiny Cadillacs, and why do they not feed the poor? Why is the guy sit on a throne in Vatican City and say, feed the poor? Why don't he get off that golden throne and give up them, you know, stuffed sculptures and all that crap and open that library number? That's something I'd like to read. And, you know, yeah, and, you know, give up some money there, dude, to feed the poor. And not sponsor Monsanto for feeding the poor, or give us vaccines to help us depopulate. You know, do the real deal, but none of them do the real deal.
Well, most people are literate now. I mean, do we really need to pay somebody to study and read the Bible to us? I mean, do that for ourselves. The whole point of the Reformation, the Protestant Reformation, is like, you know, you can be your own teacher. You know, you can learn to read. You can read this, and it's there for everybody. It was a book for everybody. That was the whole point.
We can learn from books and things, but to put it in a position that we, like Stray Dog mentioned, as an idol is insanity, really. But humans, we can. That again, I go back to guarding our spirit. We have to be careful that we don't let. But I think that's a part of this awakening, though. The spiritual awakening is a lot of people are now. I mean, the fact that I came out of my religion is huge, and that other people are as well. That we're not losing our. I didn't become an atheist. In fact, it solidified my belief and made me closer to my Creator. To lose my religion, I felt free for the first time, and that's part of the awakening.
Something, you know, what's the best way to understand something? To have a couple of thousand paid people that are there to interpret it, and you know, for you, or to have billions of people, you know, working with it and experiencing it and developing an understanding of it through the whole group, you know.
Right.
But they didn't want this originally because the Bible was wasn't it in Latin?
Absolutely.
So like we weren't meant to actually understand the Bible. It had to be delivered to us by these people.
Yeah.
They were left out.
Reading out loud in Latin where nobody really understood it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
You guys, I have the grooviest book in the world, and I probably am not supposed to have it in, and it's about the origins of Christianity, and I'm not even going to, I probably shouldn't bring it up. But I know this much, because I have read this book. In 70 A.D., after the death of Jesus, Christians were turning, they have already got and I'm going to say the Christian cult, because it was cult-like then, together. And the people were waiting. I guess Jesus said he was going to return in a generation, or within that generation. And the people were getting tired of the same old shit, okay? You know, follow these rules and stuff. And in Syria, they had some people build a monument. Of course, the people couldn't read, like you said, so but they could understand the symbols. And what they're actually, and I believe this is why we went into Syria, because this would have been ancient knowledge. And I've got this book, and maybe one day I'll do some pictures and show you guys this carving they have in Syria. And what it literally says is, well, Jesus decided not to return, so he incarnated into somebody else. So in other words, the Christians in 70 AD believed that Jesus incarnated into somebody who was living then, like one of their kings or something that was ruling at that time. So that made the Christians become obedient. And that's some things people don't even know about Christianity. And I have this book that you can't even find this registered under the Library of Congress. I don't think I'm supposed to have this book. But it is totally cool to read and to see the stuff, the propaganda they used even back then to keep Christianity going and other religions that were starting up. And they
the first books of the Bible weren't even written until long after Christ was dead.
Yeah.
Decades.
And they used, I mean, seriously, they carved these stones. It was awesome. You would love this book, Dis. I mean, it is totally, it's fantastic. Because it tells you how they used and manipulated people. And this is, it's not an India book. This is just something I acquired somehow, some very strange way. And I actually started reading it one day because it's just been sitting in the bookshelf. And I read it at the right time because, boy, was I enlightened on how controlled they even had society controlled back then to be lesser than the ones in control. And they did use religion back then.
Yeah.
And if it didn't work, they'd flip and burn you at the stake. I mean, seriously.
That's right.
I mean,
and then you go back, there's the Sumerian, there's so much to, you know, uncover, and yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, we got way off topic into religion this time. I'm glad though.
I don't worry a lot of people knowing the actual true history of things. It could, you know, unhinge some people's faith, but really should it? I mean,
That's right.
You've had connection and experience, then you know that man makes mistakes. Man makes mistakes regularly. Man does things for his motivation. That doesn't, you know, if you believe in your creator, then you know that your creator was always there, is still here, and it doesn't matter what anybody says about it.
Right.
It just is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great slogan for a T-shirt: "Embrace life, lose your religion." That would be a good T-shirt. Hey, who knows? It was originally in Greek, says Stray Dog Crew. The Romans later copied it into Latin, dropping 16 books and changing the verses. Okay, all right. True Stone showed up. Hello, brother. Just I'll say what True Stone says. Burn your Bibles. Praise. Well, at least it didn't use vagina, Jeebus.
Well, there is some enlightened stuff in there, some enlightened people, but at the same time, I do understand that it is, you know, that it is a troubled text, you know.
Well, Thread for Soul says apparently these people translating the Bible for others are a wee bit confused. Lots of laughs. Sometimes I think it should be an individual thing. Actually, I think all spirituality should be a individual thing. I think, you know, none of us could ever agree. If we sat in a room, we'd still never agree. I agree with Stray Dog. It's all within us. We all have the kingdom or the creator in us, and we all see it in a different way, and I think we're supposed to, because I think that puts all the puzzle pieces together, and we could probably solve every conflict in the world if we were allowed to get together and talk truthfully.
A lot of people want to just destroy all, you know, spirituality, saying all of these were all the same God. They came, this one came from that one, came from the other one. Well, it would kind of look that way if everybody sort of discovered the same thing. It would seem to really look like that everybody was borrowing, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you go along eventually looking for the universal truth. You're gonna possibly find it, and when you do, you may not get the whole thing, you know, in the way that the guy over the hill got it, you know. But that's just the fact that we're humans and we're all individuals and different, and we don't receive things the same way.
Right. It takes what it takes, and we go through different experiences and challenges, and not everyone's going to be exact. We have common ground as being humans and making the same mistakes or having the same struggles. We all, in our spirituality and our relationship with the Father, the Creator, like you talk about the water, Linda, I find being near water is healing, but the wind speaks to me. I hear, you can hear, just like I said, being outside, you can learn so much, and it's so healing. And you get called a witch for that, or you're doing some sort of that's just insane to me. And I remember back in that time period when I was a Christian, thinking that was insane, but I was told, like I said, oh well, that's the devil, okay. But it didn't make sense. It didn't resonate truth in my heart. But it was in here, if that makes sense.
It does. I agree with you with the wind. I watch the trees where I sit outside, and when the wind starts blowing, it's like one tree bends over and touches another tree, and it's almost like they're communicating, and it bends, but it touches the next tree, and it goes on, and there's no particular. It's like they're carrying a message, even in the trees,
right,
and everything that lives in the trees. But there's no tree that stands, above any of the others, or they're all together in this message that they're sharing.
Right, or forcing the tree to be, like the other trees, and or believe in a certain, and they're just, nature. You can learn just a lot by looking at a leaf,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What was it? Yeah. What's in a person's heart is what they are, who they are.
I think we all know deep down.
Yeah.
But we don't trust ourselves. We just don't trust that thing we have. I think we really, in our guts, we know.
Mm-hmm. We do.
It's learning to trust what we feel.
I trust what I feel, and I don't mind anymore. I used to hurt my feelings. Like I said prior to the chat, I tried to straighten my hair the one day and look different instead of being who I really am. I was fake, and like this says, your energy didn't show, and it was because I was trying to fit in, and okay, that's just not me. I am who I am, just like Jerrae's who she is, Anna's who she is, this is who he is, and I couldn't fake my way. That's the fact. It was fake. That chat of me was the hardest one I've ever went through. I couldn't wait to get the headphones off. My hair was tangled. I couldn't wait to braid my hair. So it's where we are, and I recently tried to be someone I'm not, and I can't do it. I realize I'm too old to even try. I mean, I am who I am.
Yeah, we got to follow our own path.
Right.
It's going to be different than someone else's, but we got to follow our own because that's how we got where we're at.
Right.
I believe we can help one another along by walking with each other. And then when I say that, side by side, I don't want a leader, and I don't want to lead, and I don't want to follow, but I want to walk next to my friends, because I learn more by walking side by side with them than following somebody or leading. Look, I'm not a good leader. I'd lead you right to a brick wall. I mean, I'm sometimes a basket case myself. So, but when you've got someone standing next to you, walking with you, they keep you balanced and you keep them balanced. Right. When someone's trying to oversee you or dictate to you, then of course you feel lesser and everything else. And when you, I think if you took a role of being leader, I'm sure you'd feel very powerful. I don't know. I would never take that role as being a leader.
No, yeah,
But
because I'm the same way. I have my breakdowns.
yeah,
Dark nights of the soul. When I try to hide, I go into my cave. I don't want to bring anybody down with me.
yeah,
So I let somebody close know what's going on. But I've learned that when I go through certain things, I have to go through them alone with my creator, because some people use it against you later if they know what you're dealing with. I mean, that's been my experience. Yeah, I'm not going to go into specifics on that, but yeah, they'll use it against you later, hit you over the head with it, and say, "You remember this?" I'm like, well, that's what I'll say, and then I'm mad, and nothing ever gets changed. So I try to go through time and experience. Age, I think, also makes us more comfortable in our own skin.
Yeah.
When we do try to become. Well, I always, I'd hate to go back to being 20 or even my early 30s, because I was like, who am I? What am I? Am I, because I'm half Indian and half Irish, what am I? Am I white or am I Indian? No, I'm just Jerrae. My spirit. There was a lot of confusion for many years. Am I Christian? Am I not a Christian? I'm a drug addict. I'm a loser. No, okay. And none of that, all that's gone. Not that, I know that I'm going to mess up and fail, but it's okay. It's okay.
you learn from, everybody fails, and we always learn from our failures. So in a way, sometimes our failures are blessings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we learn from the failures.
That's right.
And so, when we fail and stumble, it's good to have good people around you that help pick you up and don't put you down for your failures, but stand beside you and lift you up, because I think that's what we all need sometimes. Just that little boost of saying you're loved. We don't care, that you fail. We love you because you are you.
Well, that's part of the reason I still come to YouTube, is for people like you and others who are very understanding, and we also have the understanding of the things that we know, the awakening, right? Of what's happening, because it's hard out there, to trust people. As far as, like I said, though, I got some work to do in some areas, so.
No, trust your instinct right now, sister.
Yeah.
It's work in progress. Life is.
Sure is.
And I know about the past thing. People seem to love to rehash the past. Why not move on to the present and the future?
I agree.
That's the point. It's the passion behind us. It pushes us forward and onto new things.
Mm-hmm. We try to learn from it, and sometimes we learn, trying to not let the past or things from the past that were painful, even though some things they don't harden us, right? Sometimes they can. I think there's a reason for everything. I think we heal at different times. I've healed from different things in my life, and not all at once. And something would surface, and I was like, oh wow, I thought I think our psyche allows things to come to the surface, or when we're ready to deal with.
Yeah, when a person is ready.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, when a person is ready, they can go back to their past, and they can work through the things. They can work through it and learn from it, and bring them forward.
Right.
And it'll all become, it comes into a new perspective then.
Right.
We're ready when we're ready. We're not going to be ready any sooner.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need to worry about it.
Absolutely.
I think life gives you lessons to learn, and I think looking back, there's a kind of an arc kind of thing, and you can see it. I found if there's a lesson there I need to learn, I'll be given that situation. If I don't learn it, I'll be given it a bit more. If I don't learn it, I'm giving it a little bit more the next time, until I finally learn.
Absolutely.
What I was meant to learn, kind of thing. And to me, life is that. It's a lot of lessons, And there's nothing, I have to be honest, I don't regret anything. There is nothing. Even my kids have this thing, I have it ingrained in them. Even the bad things, divorces, whatever. I have learned so much from each one of them.
Yes.
And they've absolutely made me today, and I feel so much stronger and happier myself because I've learned those lessons.
Yes.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
My 2 cents in.
That is important. I agree.
I actually agree with you. The life's lessons are, well, they're lessons for a reason, and I think they're to better us, you know, in ways we need to be better. Everything, people are writing stuff I should, and I wanted this to be very proactive, so let me read some of this. Where was I? The devil is, Mountain Mama said, the devil is like shields. He exists, but everybody points in the wrong direction. I'm going to remember that. That's awesome. Because that was pretty good. Thread for Soul says, yes, it's not evil if you know it's not evil. That is how it strips your own power and experience away. It's sickening, really. It pisses me off. Okay, this is probably way back because I haven't looked at this in a while. Jerrae, the white puppy, is having a wonderful time behind you. Beautiful doggy.
Is he on the bed? I didn't see him.
So I was looking at your face and not the dog either.
I didn't know.
For the king, bond servant says, seek for the kingdom within. I agree. Stray Dog said, this is the covenant I will make with the people of Israel. After that time, declares the Lord, I will put my law in their minds and write it in their hearts. I will be their God, and they will be my people. That was in Jeremiah. We already know right from wrong. Everything we need to know is written in our hearts. Yes, that's what I said. And I didn't need a book to tell me that, but thank you, Stray Dog, for it is written in a book. El Chavez says, I totally need wind, need love water too. I'm so sad about Fukushima. It's killing our source of life. It is the evil in the world, killing it. There's a reckoning coming. The Creator will right things. I sure hope so. We need a lot of things righted. Don't be scared of demons and devils. The only threat to ourselves is to allow ourselves to forget that we are spiritual beings having a human experience as opposed to the commonly held vice versa belief. That is from Rizika K9. I hope I said that right. True Son said all of it. Oh, I'm not reading 120 lines, True Son. I'm going to leave that, but it is programming. It is a social and cultural experience. I will read. But you guys can go read True Stones. Thank you for leaving the long, long message, and I do love you, brother. Thread for Soul says, yes, blessings in disguise, just like changes are uncomfortable and seem really bad when you're going through it, but always come out for the better. Yes, they do. Hell of a Deal says, Jesus ate with the publican. And why have I heard that word before, publican? Because isn't some Ken Bob writes about that. When I walked into a bar looking for my friend, I heard the same thing said to me that was said about him. It was a religious nut that saw me walk in. He didn't see what happened while I was there. I confronted it off as jealousy. The friends we shared liked me somewhat more, not skin off my back. I don't know what that's about, hell of a deal. Sorry that your friend was like that. So all you guys are the only reason I use YouTube and Google Plus. I just love all of you so much. And Fred for Souls, we love you too.
Yes.
Stolo says everything happens for a reason. It's its own time and place, even if at time we do not like it. I only know, live for this moment. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow may not come. I agree, and you are a good sister. Mr. Tommy Boy 9 says, my sister keeps dragging on the past. Remember this and that, and I'm more what does the future hold. Keep it up, Mr. Tommy Boy. Maybe she'll get there. QC Hip, I'm glad you're here. Real Sweet says, hey, Linda, just in case you missed it, did you want to bring up what we were going to chat about on here. My man won't be able to chat this weekend. This is fucking awesome. Thanks. That was shared privately. I'd rather talk to you in a private chat first. Real sweet, if that's okay. Hell of a Deal says, do not lead me. I may not follow. Do not follow. I may make a wrong turn. Instead, walk with me as a friend, and we can face the road ahead together. Beautiful words there. Yes. Electric Blue says, planning for the future is only good if you've lived in the present and in the now. That's very true. He's a young man, and he's brilliant. I want you guys to know that. Solo Nation says this is a school, and some graduate early, and some, like me, is waiting to graduate late in life, still learning. And people like you on this chat and comments teach me every day. And Solo, you teach me every day. So she's got to run, and I love you, but you teach me. True Son said, drop all their lies and programming and control methods into the trash. Well, we have, and you know that, and we love you, True Stone.
Yes.
And I was going to, you guys can talk, I'm going to read what's in the sidebar here. Oh, well, maybe not. Goodness gracious.
And what is it? No.
It's a book.
You should be able to get it by just, you really have to read it.
I will read that later. Do you want me to read that out loud?
No, you don't have to.
Okay, good. But actually, I want to read it because it's about Rome.
About
in the first century, yeah.
You got.
Never mind. I know what you're saying here at this point. Oh, wow. Okay, so we're reading something here. And listen, the patriarchal system is brought up in this, and I'm not going to say anything on this chat about the patriarchal militarized system that I don't believe in, but I don't, because that is what has happened, is we have been co-opted by a patriarchal, and in patriarchal also equates to a militarized system of control, and it has been going on. It is the old world order, the new world order, whatever world order you want to call it. As soon as they could control us, they did it through the patriarchal militarization. To me, when I look back in history, that is what I see. I don't know if anybody agrees with me on this panel who knows what I'm talking about. What do you think?
Imperial Rome, you know, your imperialist Rome, you know, which functioned, you know, basically to just conquer more land and make more people Romans and collect more taxes and dig more gold. That, you know, basically was the whole point of the empire, was just to grow. And when it got to a point to where it, you know, they couldn't grow it anymore, they had already developed, you know, some really bad habits. Mm-hmm. That eventually led to its demise.
And this is on the publicans, which were part of the Republic, right?
Basically, state employees or contractors.
Okay, thank you very much for clarifying what. We have a bunch of those here, don't we? Still, they're still using them. I mean, will this old world order empire system ever cease? Can we ever get beyond this? What do you guys think? Because what I'm reading here is the same damn thing we've got going on now in every single country. Wonder if this will ever end.
I think the Western world is just a continuation of Imperial Rome. I mean, we've totally taken the form, the method, and the approach entirely and went on with it, you know.
And the madness.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it is. It's totally insane. It is an insane empire system. And it's for, like you said, it's control. To me, right now, of course, they wanted resources back then too, and now we've engineered better ways to, you know, extract resources and rape Mother Earth, and you know, and You know, they're going to, pretty soon we won't even have clean water to drink or any water to drink at that point. So, you know, it's getting down and dirty. Do you guys want to cut this off? We've went over 2 hours.
I have work in the morning.
Yeah, I got some stuff to do, man, but I've enjoyed it very much.
Cool.
I mean, I'm going to go, but y'all can stay here all day.
I have things to do too, but I wanted to thank everybody who came to the chat and participated. I love you all for just hanging out with us, and for those who stopped by to say hello, guys, thank you very, very much, because we didn't know which way this was going to go, and I think it went in an awesome way. And Anna and and Jerrae, thank you for all coming, and I'm sorry Rick Mack was sick. Let's hope he gets better. We're sending blessings out to him. And if anybody has anything to say at the end here, if anybody would like to promote their channel or anything, feel free.
Nope.
No, all right, that's Anna Wallace. She's in Ireland. Please go sub her. Dystopian Empire. He's usually on the chat. If you haven't subbed him, please go sub him. Jerrae Lyn, everybody, most people on here probably know you. If you don't, please go sub her. Every person on this chat, except me, well, sometimes I'm okay, has got words of wisdom and shows awesome things. And if any of you young people are struggling and your parents won't listen to you, you know, or your family, or anybody needs to chat or talk about a spiritual crisis they're going through, just get in touch with any of us. I'm sure we'll talk to you. I will anyway. I'm sure the rest of us would be happy to.
Yes,
I mean, we've all...
I just want to tell everybody out there who said night, thank you, and thank you, Linda, and thank you, Anna and Dystopian. It's been nice to meet you too.
And you.
This is really good. I really, like I said, this is why I come to YouTube, like Thread for Souls said, and because of people that, I think everyone gives a damn and is trying to do what they can do, and we can all learn from each other. And I learn from all of you. I learn more in comment sections on the videos I make alone from everybody. And I learn from others, and I like I said, I'm very. Other than that, I don't like the machine, but I am, because we don't know what's real and not real on there, what's true or what's not true. But I know you all are, and this is a good thing. So thanks for having me, Linda. And I will call you. I know you lost my number. I have your number, and I will get a hold of you. So
I got your number. No, I got your number. I found it.
All right, cool. All right, well, we'll get together and talk sometime and do it again. So I'm going to get off here.
Yeah. Oh, I've enjoyed hanging with all of you. I mean, it's really been a gift. It really has, and I would like to do this again sometime.
Yeah, do a pre-chat. We'll get into some funny stuff then.
Oh yeah, if you guys one day maybe we ought to just film our pre-chat just for bloopers. If you only knew what the pre-chats are about. It's not about this at all.
It's nasty, naughty. No, you're not. Oh no, it was fine. It's good times. So.
Yeah, it is. Okay, guys, I'm going to close this. We love you all, and we will be doing this again, and don't know when. We will let you know in advance like we did this time. Love you guys, and we're out of here.